the right button. All right, there we go. Thank you very much, everyone who is here. Thank you for making time in the space. Before I officially start introducing things, I just want to say I'm the editor-in-chief of Salamander, Dr. Jose Angel Aragus. And yeah, just whatever you've gone through, whatever's going on in your life, whatever you've survived to get to this moment, thank you for making the time to be here. It means a lot to share the space, to kind of build in and kind of celebrate the writers that are in this issue, the writers that are here with us tonight, and just to celebrate literature as well. It continues to be kind of a tough world out there in the States and beyond. So it means a lot to take these moments and be here with everyone. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna read a little bit of my editor's note for y'all. And from this latest issue of Salamander, we've got the cover there. And then I will introduce our first writer. We have Katie Marya, Nicole Simonson, and Sara Elkamel reading tonight. And yeah, I will not stall that too much. I will do my formal introduction. So how's back to normal going? It's the question that comes to mind as I teach and write and edit these days. No matter what folks may have been thinking this past summer when the societal slouch toward the narrative of returning back to normal began, whatever each of those privileged enough to feel like they had had enough of the pandemic protocols and social distancing and isolation, whatever those who fed into the narrative that returning back to public spaces was something acceptable and manageable, despite the better judgment of scientists and people in mourning. Not to mention, but let's definitely mention, the rising number of dead due to COVID, as well as those of us without a choice but to play ball and fall into the back to normal narrative due to financial need and circumstances. No one saw what the world would be like this winter, nor this spring for that matter. Yet here we are, exhausted, strained, at risk still. This misguided and forced narrative to back to normal is what I think about when reflecting on the work of Gia Gia. This piece in particular, specifically the piece on this issue's cover, part of the sequence Quack, Quack, Quack. The idea of back to normal for me is reflected in the innocuous, neat appearance one expects of a rubber duck, but which is thwarted in this piece. One can see that forcing this rubber duck into spaces where it doesn't fit, much like jamming a society into the shape of a false hope of crude leadership and sheer denial, both lead us to cracking and contortion. This isn't normal. It wasn't going to be, but at least we can do ourselves the favor of dropping the pretense of letting go of back to normal. In a way, the pandemic, along with the growing awareness and unavoidable acknowledgement of how limited the earth is in resources, not to mention, but let us damn mention, the toxic inequity born of a world where billionaires race each other to space while New Delhi is forced to call for a climate lockdown, is pushing back on the back to normal narrative, forcing us to realize that there was a point of no return and it has been long ago past. Now, if this train of thought is bringing you down, if it seems fairly heavy for an introductory note into a reading for a literary magazine, please know that it is necessary. This dropping of pretense is in every sphere of my own life, from teaching with a mask and clip-on microphone on, while a small speaker hangs at my gut, to the strained eyes of my masked students asking for extensions because of exposure, because of family being ill, to friends across the country tired and aghast at restrictions being dropped, of COVID cases rising, of returning to public spaces for work and being yelled at for still wearing a mask, to friends around the world attending funerals with masks on, funerals accessible through Zoom, so that my partner and I are up at midnight to hold space for a friend. The work of putting together this issue occurred largely through that kind of atmosphere. And because of this, and despite it, I'm excited to celebrate this issue. There is hope to be had. Not only because this issue represents a confluence of communities and influences, of voices and insights, but also because it is a testament to being present yet never normal. Now there is a sentiment I can slouch behind. And with that, thank you all for being here, present with us. We'll go ahead and get started. I will introduce our first reader, Katie Marya. Katie Marya is a writer and translator, originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Her first full-length poetry collection, Sugarwork, was the editor's choice for the 2020 Alice James Book Award and will be published in June 2022. Lots of good to be looking forward to there in the summer. She is currently a PhD student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And I've known Katie for a couple of years now, admire her work. I love the kind of lyric intensity of her work and how she handles white space. So without further ado, please help me welcome Katie Marya.
Thank you, Jose. Can everyone hear me okay? I think so. Okay. When I was prepping for this reading, I was trying to think about the last time I read. And it was basically this time 2 years ago, right after we all kind of went on lockdown. It was for a graduate reading series that UNL puts on. And I remember being sort of on the floor. I had my computer on the floor. I don't know if that memory is accurate. And it was snowing in Nebraska. And I had experienced a personal death not related to COVID. And I had no concept really of the 2 years that we were going into. So it's nice to be here after 2 years of not reading out loud. And yeah, I'll just jump in. I'm going to read hopefully only 8 minutes of poetry. And it's all from my new collection, Sugarwork, that Jose mentioned. And the poems that Salamander published are worked in here. And yeah, just thanks to Jose and thanks to the other readers. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. I figured out some connections already that we have, which is fun. So, okay, this is the first poem of the book. It's called Sugarwork. The cake edges the counter, royal and layered, orange cream fondant, punctured or slit with a knife, or peeled off exactly. White sugar circles, like a saint's corona. My mother ate it dry, days old. Pleasure was always hers for the taking. I abstained. I was afraid of the cake, the edible sun, that half-naked photo of her, younger and firmer, dripping in the kitchen. I thought there was no safe amount of sugar, so I pretended to take none. And this next poem is called Exaltation, which is deeply inspired by the Argentine poet Alejandro Pizarnik. And yeah, I'm nervous. Okay. Exaltation. This voice of my voices is fragile. In my sideways bed, I record my voice reading a poem and send it to the man I love. The women I love are poets, and they write about a divided self, liminal self, orchestra refusal of a hurried life. I want to dance, but the dancers still buzz that old song where a strong man lifts up a small woman. I want the man I love to pick me up with his insoluble words, his mouth a wooden boat on the lake of my childhood. I mean to say the sounds of his mouth are a boat in my exile. There is no country for me except the body and my mother's body. I kill the presidents. I kill those of us who feel, I know the presidents kill those of us who feel in certain ways. I am not afraid of my feelings anymore. Butter beans on which I squeeze lemon juice, crystal faces, hot risotto, the duration of an arrow, that orchestra of play in the face of sorrow. Joy, 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 sounds, the circle in the middle of joy, a portal, and we are radiant. No division, I shout, I shout, I shout. I am indivisible. I am bread on the floor of the church, and I crawl to the beggar outside. I leave the church. I accept my solitary outlook. I accept my skin. I accept my newness. Now I kill the presidents. I do not rush to gold. I lick my wrist and decide not to hate it. I paint my friends and listen to the sound of their names sounding from their own mouths. I've been the lover since the dawn of time, except for the time I threw a cup at my brother's face. I still smell the blood on his bare chest as he runs from the house. He had been angry his whole life. Then I was angry. Then he was scared. Turn of terror, rust. I don't think he had been allowed fear. I have been a lover except for all the times I wanted men to find me at the center of everything. I go to the lakeside where the mud is red. I go to the lakeside and slide in. I go with my brother, my palms, then my mouth to the water, my body to the bodies of water. Okay, and this one I wrote after I got a divorce. So shout out to people who are divorced. It's called Water. I spend these months in pleasure, dance, walk around alone, swim my fingers over my stomach in the tub. I feel good. There is no moon in this bathroom because there is no window. I light a candle to make the moon. And this one was published in Salamander. It's called The Religion I've Made of My Mother. I believe in ghosts and angels and a God or a burst that made me from love. I believe in a city where no one is hungry, with houses made of native grass and biodegradable long-term material and the color yellow. I'm inside one of these houses, the one my mother makes as she disappears. She disappears in the making of it. She's surrendered. She holds desire by its neck. She eats the cake, the salmon, the ramen, the drunk's final piece of bread, the glitter dress. Her mouth engulfs a McDonald's hamburger in the middle of the night. She's lean, round brush bangs, bleached blonde. Some years, I don't see my mother. Then she appears, fearless, not afraid of God or distance or going in the ground, not afraid of her own going like I am. Acrylic nails with that subtle pink, so her hands look more soft than strong. I believe in her hands. I can't imagine a world without her in it, eating and smoking. The Marlboro burns near a corner of her lips. I can't believe in a God who relies on wounds to be seen. Okay, two more. This one takes its title from a Gwendolyn Brooks poem called My Dreams, My Works Must Wait Till After Hell. And the title is, and that's in her selected. And the title is On Me Such Legs Are Left. I wanted to drag my father's family out into the street, make them listen to their decades of silence, make them wrench their unmoved tongues from their mouths. The weight, the dregs of years I spent seeking their love and not my own. Oh Lord, I return me to me, the letter I, mine, not a steel beam, but the cursive lowercase one, like a contour of soft dirt to sit down on, and the sun. And then this final one is the last one in the book, which I hope you will buy. It's $10 right now. I do not like doing the promo, but I'm doing it. It's called Prayer for the Lover. Prayer for the lover. Let me be the lover who delivers blood oranges in a blue cloth, who hates sex for its joy costume of sound, and loves sex as praise. Let me be the lover who misses my mother and strings her freckles around my ears, who lays heavy on the floor to count the valleys of my brother's chest, who memorizes us undoing our wet clothes, a dare to swim naked in the moon. Let what haunts me be sugar's history, not pleasure itself. I trade a granule of sweet for a grain of sand, the sea. Let me soak each feeling in bathwater and lap honey up with my tongue. Let me circle my hips and break the glass lens I pin over us. Let me crochet the sky into our skin and confess grief to the sun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. Feel free to use your reactions. If you want to unmute real quick for some claps, that is more than fine. Let's see. Move. And now I will add myself. I know how to do this. Yeah. Thank you so much, Katie. That was awesome. And like I just made a new friend recently, and she was sharing about like, oh yeah, and going through a divorce. And I immediately was like, well, congratulations, because going through it means you are the tough part's over. Like realizing it's time to move on, you've made that change. And she was like, you know what, thank you. Because everyone always is like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no. The tough part's done. Like, so now you get to kind of move forward. The energy's back. So good job. And yeah, the way sugar kind of ran through the poems, sugar and salt, all these things that dissolve. You didn't say salt, but like sand ends up salty. So I don't know, that was awesome. So yeah, check out Katie's work. I put links to her website and to pre-order her book in the chat there. All right. So I'm not gonna introduce Nicole Simonson of Simonson's Winning Story. Her story, Lucky won our fiction contest prize, and it's Lucky. I get that title right. Put respect on that name. It was just stood out. It was pretty amazing. And our contest judge, Yun Lee, said the following, quote, "New motherhood can be enriching yet claustrophobic, hopeful yet frustrating. With precision, humor, and empathy, Lucky captures the narrator's physical and mental state in this postpartum period and creates a dynamic narrative when life itself can feel static. A great read." And I can't help but second that. It is a great read. Nicole Simonson's short stories have appeared in Booth, Tin House Online, Washington Square Review, and elsewhere. She teaches at a high school in Sacramento, California. Please help me welcome Nicole Simonson. Let's see.
Hi, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Thank you so much for providing this venue and this opportunity. I don't get to read out loud to an audience very often. This is only my second time in a Zoom room reading like this, so it's exciting. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this and be here with everybody. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start reading. Hope that's okay. So the story is called Lucky. The baby was stealing my sleep. Only 3 days old and already a thief, I said. Don't be silly, this precious angel. My mother took her from me, making cooing noises into her face. Joel gripped my elbows. It's always rough in the beginning. Remember what the classes said? He led me to our bed and urged me into it. You just have to relax. Sleep will come. I closed my eyes. They popped open a second later. What if there's a finite amount of sleep in the world? Only so much to go around. Shh, Joel whispered. Sleep's not a natural resource. It's not like oil. He massaged my shoulders and talked at me until I understood that I was being silly. I'll stay until you fall asleep, he said. He sat there, the minutes ticking on, his hand on my back growing heavier and hotter. He shifted uncomfortably. Finally, I feigned sleep just so he would leave. Alone, I took a deep breath and tried to relax, to stop thinking, but my mind was a pinball, one thought ricocheting off another. Suddenly, I was afraid of everything: melting glaciers, measles outbreaks, skyrocketing rents. What if E. coli was in our lettuce? Would we ever get out of our apartment and into a real house? What if I was a bad mother? What if we didn't bond properly? What if one day in her mid-20s, she decided to disown me? You hear stories like that. Grown children rejecting their parents for no good reason. Zap, zap, zap. Each bad thought was a bolt of electricity, making my body crackle and spark. Worse, blood kept seeping out of me. Lying there, I became convinced I'd stained the mattress. I sat up. Sure enough, a red smear on white sheets. I hobbled to the bathroom and sat on the toilet. Something passed through me, something essential. I froze. Finally, I stood up and looked into the bowl. A mass the size of a lemon pulsed there at the bottom. It looked like a piece of my heart. Trembling, I called the labor and delivery nurse, and she said not to worry. It was only a blood clot. They were normal, to be expected, but if I passed one the size of an orange, I should probably come in. When I told her that I'd seen plenty of small oranges and large lemons, she was silent. Do you get my point? I asked. Dear, she said, try to get some sleep. It sounds like you need it. I flushed the clot down the toilet and got back into my bloody bed, too tired to bother with the sheets. I should have taken a picture of the clot so that no one, not Joel, not my mother, could say I was exaggerating. Now it was too late and they would never believe me. The baby. Now she was a champion sleeper. Already she could sleep 4 or 5 hours at a stretch. But soon I started to worry that she was getting too much sleep, that she'd never wake up. So I'd nudge her awake just to check, just to see her eyes flutter open. Everyone told me how lucky I was to have a baby that slept that long. Yes, I would say, I'm so lucky. Lucky, lucky, lucky. I am so lucky. It became an earworm I couldn't get rid of. She loved to sleep on Joel's chest. Within minutes, his eyes would close too, and their chests would rise and fall together as if synchronized. Sleep seemed contagious in those moments, and I would lie down next to them, my head on Joel's arm, so that we were all touching, all connected. And maybe I did sleep in 5 or 10 minute snatches, but it was junk sleep, the kind of sleep that makes you even more tired. Together, the two of them would wake, yawning and blinking, dewy-eyed and rosy. In the beginning, I thought it was adorable. My little family, I would think. I'm so lucky, lucky, lucky. I kept waiting for her features to change, to start to look like one of us, but it never happened. She didn't resemble anyone in the family either. Such pale skin and these starfish hands, I said to Joel. Where did she get such long fingers? She was chest deep in a plastic bathing tub filled with warm water. Her first real bath after the hard, blackened end of the umbilical cord fell off with the last bit of evidence that we'd once been connected. Joel kept one hand on her shoulder to keep her from slipping while I lathered a washcloth. He shrugged. Who knows how genetics works? Where did this white hair come from? I poured a cup of water over her head. She blinked in surprise. And her eyes are so far apart, she looks like a praying mantis. Maybe there was a mix-up at the hospital. Joel scowled, taking the washcloth from me and swiping behind her ears, her neck, her chin. Of course she's ours. I watched her slide out of you. Slide. What a word. She'd scraped me raw, as if when passing through me, she'd dug her nails into my insides, trying to hold on. He stiffened when I touched his arm. I didn't mean anything by it, I said. Don't ever talk like that. I'm sorry, I said. It's the insomnia. I'm not thinking properly. He kissed my forehead. I know, I didn't mean to snap. Then he wrapped her in the hooded towel with the bare ears that we'd gotten at the baby shower. My little cub, he said, take our picture. I obeyed, and later, when I couldn't sleep, I would open that picture on my phone and zoom in on each of their faces. I would blow up his grin, which was so wide you wouldn't know he'd been annoyed. I would scroll over her little face, smooth and placid as the Buddha's. Of all the pictures I took in those early days, that's the one I kept. When she was 2 weeks old, Joel went back to work. We couldn't afford for him to take more time off now that he was the sole provider. I hated that phrase, sole provider. It made me feel useless. My mother stayed for another few days and then got on a plane to go home. In the doorway, she hugged me for a long time. She cupped the sides of my face, kissed my cheeks, but her brow was furrowed. I said I would be fine. We would be fine. Of course you will, she said. Just remember, when the baby sleeps, you sleep. Then it was just the two of us, me and her and me all day long. When I was pregnant, I'd imagined myself with an older child, 5 or 6 years old, when I could take on bike rides or to swim class. I'd imagined teaching her to read, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. We'd read the same books over and over, and I'd be so patient. But what do you do all day with a baby? Apparently, you're supposed to be so happy that you walk around stupidly grinning, the baby hanging from a sling like the pictures in the parent magazines I was now supposed to read, if only they weren't so boring. But the sling chafed my neck, and I had to put her down. I would put her on the bed and stare at her. She had these tiny white freckles across her nose that were supposed to disappear after a few weeks, though none of them had. The magazine said I should talk to her, but about what? I was so tired, I didn't feel capable of even a one-sided conversation. I could tell her about books I'd read, famous lines from literature. What was it Kurtz whispered at the end of that boring story? The horror, the horror. Or what about that other story that I hadn't really understood, the one with the young man who kept saying, I would prefer not to, anytime he was asked to do something. I would prefer not to, I would prefer not to. Suddenly that line was on a loop in my head. Every time I had to breastfeed her, I would prefer not to. When I changed her diaper, I would prefer not to. I didn't even realize I sometimes said these lines out loud until one night Joel said, What did you just say? Nothing. I flushed red. What else had I said? What other private thoughts had I revealed in my haze? I felt as if I'd left my diary open to a damning page on the kitchen table. I tried to do what my mother said. As the baby slept in her bassinet, I lay down and closed my eyes, listening to the little sucking noises she made, her little sighs and coos. Trying to sleep was pointless. I sat up, leaned over the bassinet, and breathed in the baby's milky, powdery scent. A little doll, my mother kept saying, and she did look just like a doll. Those realistic ones they make with the wrinkly faces that cry and gurgle at regular intervals and even poop and pee. Dolls made to train little girls for a life of servitude. I will never buy you one of those ugly dolls, I promised her. I got up to change the pad. Still so much blood. Was it possible to bleed for a whole year? I felt heavy, dense, as if my bones were petrifying. I put my face up close to the bathroom mirror. Somehow, I'd aged 2 years in the weeks since her birth. Lines had appeared around my eyes overnight. I could see my old woman's face, the roadmap of wrinkles I would one day have, right there, superimposed on my current face. This is what happens when you have a baby. You instantly grow old. No one tells you this. They keep it a secret so that you'll perpetuate the species. I lay down again and cried so hard I grew sleepy. And then I became aware that I was falling asleep and instantly woke up. It didn't matter anyways, because then the baby began to cry, and hers was not a cry that could be ignored. I leaned over the bassinet as she screamed, fists flailing. I picked her up, rocked her, sang to her, offered her my breast. That didn't go well either. I was so tense, the milk wouldn't let down. I could almost feel it curdling in my chest. She sucked, and when nothing came out, screamed in protest. I put her back on because that's what the delivery nurse said to do. Just keep putting her back on. Never, never, never give up, the nurse had chirped. And I wanted to ask her if she knew that was Winston Churchill's pep talk to the British. If the British could survive the Blitz, surely I could suckle an infant. Was that what she meant? Suck, suck, scream until I wanted to scream myself. When the milk finally dropped, it felt like fire. That's another thing they don't tell you. Breastfeeding is pain. Breastfeeding is torture. Worse, the baby didn't seem to like my milk. The first few sips always made her lips pucker as if tasting something sour. It was the stress, I told myself. It was infecting the milk, making it rancid. We went on like this for days. I don't think I slept at all. I thought I might die. People can, die from lack of sleep. Once I read about a man in Italy who couldn't enter REM sleep. Doctors pumped him full of powerful narcotics, hooked him up to machines, hypnotized him. Nothing worked. He began to lose his memories, his ability to walk, to speak, until one day he just died. When they opened his skull, his brain was full of holes. My brain was becoming a colander. Strange, random images flitted behind my eyelids, books in languages I couldn't read, a puddle of red wine on a white counter, aquarium fish on their endless loops around the tank. I would hear old rhymes and voices from my past, my mother, childhood friends. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. He loves me not. Are you sure? I think I've made a mistake. I would prefer not to. Lucky, lucky, you are so lucky. Lucky, ducky, plucky. Then I would snap back to the present. What? I would think, was I going crazy? When I told Joel about the holes, he waved my fear away. Your brain isn't full of holes, he said. You're just overtired. Forget the holes, I said. It's like I sat down on the edge of our bed, my face in my hands, peering through my fingers as if through the bars of a prison cell. I took a deep breath. It's like, imagine your brain is a mansion, a huge mansion with many wings and floors and 1,000 rooms at least. Okay, but you don't have enough money to pay the electric bill anymore, so you close off one floor. Big deal, you think at first. Who needs 1,000 rooms? 900 is plenty. But eventually you have to close off another floor, then another, then the whole wing. You cover all the furniture and art with white sheets. You lock the doors, then you close another wing. Eventually, all that's left is the attic. You get squeezed into this tiny place in a corner of the attic with only a candle. You know the rest of the mansion is there, but you can't get to it. Joel stared. That's what it feels like not to sleep. Maybe you should ask for sleeping pills, he said finally. I can't take pills, it'll get into the milk. You don't need to shout, he said, gripping my shoulders. I hear you. He released me to pace back and forth. There must be something. He tapped his forehead as if the solution would tumble out. Wait here. He grabbed his keys and left, slamming the door. Of course, the baby woke up. 20 minutes later, when he came back, she was still screaming and my nerves were stripped raw and throbbing. He took her and thrust a bag at me. From the health food store, I bought every natural sleep aid they had. I'll take care of her while you nap. I dumped the contents onto the kitchen table. Valerian root, melatonin, magnesium, sleepy time tea, and even a CD of soothing sounds. In bed, I took 3 of everything, drank the tea, and played the CD. I closed my eyes and waited. The sounds were soothing, waves rolling in, water trickling over stones, or was that a toilet that had just been flushed? The room grew foggy. My brain settled a little, bumping up against sleep. I was adjacent to sleep, I told Joel later, skirting a neighborhood I couldn't enter. Really? I peeked in. I was like one of those orphans with empty bellies in a Dickens novel, out in the cold, watching the children of the rich as they dine on roast beef. Maybe that was just a dream. A hungry orphan peering through a window that is slowly fogging over with her last breaths. Or no, the little match girl. You'll just have to try again tonight. It takes a while for this stuff to build up in your system. He looked so disappointed. I felt as if I'd let him down, as if my inability to sleep was hurting him. Sure, I said. Never, never, never give up. That's my girl. He kissed my forehead and handed me the baby. I'll make dinner tonight. And I'll stop there. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh no, one of the treats of getting to host events like this is and knowing the stories ahead of time. Is watching people's reactions who might be hearing this for the first time. So you took us on a ride, Nicole. Thank you so much. And I encourage y'all to check out the story for sure. And yes, I agree with Katie in the chat. Everyone go read the rest. The park scene is so funny and harrowing. Yes. Thank you so much. All right, so our final reader for tonight, I'll introduce her now. Sara Elkamel is a poet and journalist living between her hometown of Cairo and New York City. She holds an MA in arts journalism from Columbia University and is an MFA candidate in poetry at New York University. Her poems have appeared in The Common, Michigan Quarterly Review, Four-Way Review, Cincinnati Review, the Los Angeles Review, and as part of the anthologies Best New Poets and Best of the Net, among other publications. She is the author of the chapbook Filled with No Justice, published by the African Poetry Book Fund and Akashic Books, came out in 2021. I'll be dropping the link to that in the chat. But yeah, without further ado, please help me welcome Sara Elkamel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Jose. And I'm so happy to be here. It was so wonderful listening to Katie and Nicole reading. I really, really genuinely enjoyed that. And when I get my hands on the issue, I'll be very happy to revisit the works. I'm in Cairo right now, which is why I haven't physically seen the issue yet. And that's also why I just don't see anything in print until months later, but it's okay. Okay, so I'll read a few poems tonight. I'll start with the two poems published in Salamander, and I was so excited to have them published there. One of my favorite magazines for sure. So this is In This Town We Rescue Cats. In this town, we rescue cats for Katie Marya. Amid November's raid, the journalists at the office learned to make paper boats to pass the time. Suddenly, there were as many boats as people, except not one boat had a name. It is November again. The boats collect dust in the corner of the newsroom. We sip coffee, sniff each whiskered abscess on the lips of our strays, as officers question the salted lines around Karim's eyes. In our quest for temporary exits, we name strays, we make homes in our terrible freedom, which blinks, which mortifies us. To pass the time, we strain questions like water through a round mesh riddle. Here, anything can be an editorial question. Like, can a piece of paper, however quaintly folded, be a lifeboat? Who takes a man post-swim from the Red Sea? Who takes care of his strays? We sip coffee, wipe peppercorns of grime off the lips of our languid, useless boats. November again. The future is a cold room with a bare bed frame. Okay, I'm actually at a friend's house right now. The poem that this person is for, Katie Marya, was imprisoned briefly last year. And I saw him at this friend's house before he was imprisoned. And then I saw him here again and I showed him the poem on my phone. But when I get my hands on the issues, I'm gonna give him one of the copies. But he said he was offended that I called his kittens or his cats stray cats. He was like, they have names and you didn't use their names. But anyway, okay, so this poem also features cats, but it's I guess less morbid, maybe more, I don't know, but it's less true, so that's good. So in this poem, Forbidden Fruit Picker, it's made up of various sections, and every section has a subhead, and all the subheads are actually names of paintings by the artist Wangechi Mutu. More poetic license, I guess. Okay. Forbidden fruit picker. How to stab oneself in the back. In a recurring dream, I knock over the musician's instrument and blame his kittens. He drinks their mother's milk as punishment, forbids them from the balcony. There is sadness in each hand, but in the third hand, I'm holding his instrument and singing like he taught me. The kittens are breaking everything in the kitchen, eating leaves of glass to spite him. I sing wrong as he nurses them, picking shards from their lips like a lover. But something between them had ended. He sits back beside me, blood like milk around each eye. Now, where were we? He was about to tell me something. He is saying I have taught him everything about love because I'm flawless, but he could not love me. My third hand, blue with sharp silver nails, is now holding a bulbous pink fruit instead. I don't want to sing anymore. Starved, the kittens leave him and follow me home. It is always like this, but I have no milk for them. I have no mother cat, and I never have food in the kitchen. Forbidden fruit picker, March 7th. Dreamed you left me and married a flower instead, gave her the old diamonds. I'm in so much pain in the dream, I'm grieving. You call me when she's at work, serve me cottage cheese on the balcony. You are always naked in my dreams. This is a house with 2 balconies. I don't know this house. The furniture is gorgeous. I'm jealous and anxious. Time means everything in this dream. I must leave before she comes back. Writing death in my sleep. I'm tired of dreaming of creatures I neglect to feed, and my sister's face bruised like summer fruit, and me without my hands, waiting all night outside the wrong house, the house with 2 balconies. I have a habit of keeping sugar by the bed. I wake up and shove it past my teeth like milk. Hungry cats somersault in my head. When I return to the dream, it's too late. The beginning looks nothing like the end. One of the cats, white with an orange cloud in the center, hurls herself off the balcony. She falls soft as a kite, her mouth open, screaming in my sister's voice. Second born, March 6th. Dreamed of an orange and white cat. She was standing on the ledge at Dad's. I couldn't save her, and someone heard Zina, and the cat fell and screamed. Pretty double-headed, January 12th. I dreamed of 2 kittens. I panic as I realize I forgot to feed them. One of them grows an abscess so long, one of them grows an abscess so large it becomes it, black in the center. The other, a velvety gray, is gorgeous in the sun. The bride who married a camel's head. Once, a man convinced me to walk with him every morning in November to feed stray cats. He'd bring a few boiled yolks, he did not like the yolks, in a plastic bag which hissed as he told stories about the cat family down the street. There was the one in an apricot coat, Mishu, who wanted to see Vienna but could never get a visa. Their mother, Jihan, who conversed with birds, but never with crows, and Amar, who loved to sing. I was terrified of cats then, even Vitu, who could have fit between my shoulder and my neck. The man could smell the fear on me like sulfur. Maybe that's why we never made it past November. Every morning, the cats circled him like carpenter ants circled summer, but the yolks were never enough. One night, I texted him I dreamed of a wedding in a church. The man wore an apricot coat and the bride wore a stiff black dress. Even her veil was hemmed with black jewels sharp as crow beaks, like she was in a cage. He liked the word cage. Now I make yoke necklaces and visit the family alone. I never asked you to listen. A woman who cures clay in the sun and reads dreams tells me all the creatures I forget to feed are myself. You are concerned about taking care of yourself. I disagree. They want something from me. That's my death mask you're wearing, April 10th. I dreamed I was pregnant, but finding no food in me, the baby died before it was born. The end of eating everything. 2 snakes, no, 1 snake with 2 heads reaches for the fruit. My long silver thumbnail almost scrapes. My biggest fear is they'll get to it first. I guess I was shocked when you married the flower because I thought the naked dreams meant you belonged to me. Now I see you waiting by a purple tree, mouth open, and you don't look at me. The fruit between us hangs low. It is almost the size of my head. The snake has sprayed its pink and orange skin with red venom as eternal as oil. We ache. The seeds sing inside the belly of this need, this need, this need. Okay. I always forget how long this poem is when I read it. I hope it wasn't too long for everyone. Okay, this is a new poem that I've been really struggling with. But yeah, here goes. It's called Because of My Mother. I know cravings because of my mother. I was born with pale green grapes on my pelvis because of my mother. I know nipples because of my mother. I know the ginger stain of henna because of my mother. I know rice pudding, cotton balls, and milk tea because of my mother. 6 spoons of sugar because of my mother. I'm always 6 because of my mother. As a girl in the Mediterranean, I almost drowned because of my mother. I could never swim because of my mother. I found the chest of my father because of my mother. When a man is really angry, I laugh because of my mother. When I'm really scared, I laugh because of my mother. I feed on the soft skin inside my lips because of my mother. Every time I touch my clitoris, I smell it stink because of my mother. The wrong fruit because of my mother. I'm afraid of my fingers because of my mother. Of myself in the dark because of my mother. The sounds I make embarrass me because of my mother. I think I should sleep very still because of my mother. I thought no man or woman would touch me because of my mother. I did not shave until I was 26 because of my mother. I know how hair yields to sugar because of my mother. How hairless my mother. I'm a child in a mermaid costume because of my mother. Flaxen grass around my lips because of my mother. A code grazing deserts looking for a mother. I found mothers in classrooms in the Dead Sea one spring because of my mother. In dream after dream, I am as yellow as a migrant dog in a cave without a mother. I lick open the mouths of caves because of my mother. I translate the wind because of my mother. Everywhere I go, I make a temporary mosque because of my mother. I sift through the rice grain by grain looking for stones because of my mother. I feed everyone else before myself because of my mother. I could never get the meat cubes to soften because of my mother. In Cairo, after New York, I had a house to stay in because of my mother. The curtains a sickening yellow because of my mother. I moved so slow that year because of my mother. The nutritionist said I was addicted to sugar because of my mother. I cut out sugar because of my mother. I was convinced the bed was infested with bugs because of my mother. My back bled for days because of my mother. I burned the mattress because of my mother. The lights here are blinding because of my mother. I am dreaming of 2 identical mothers, and I do not scream because maybe one of them is my mother. Both chew their bright orange lips in the same mirror. For years, I collected negatives of wombs because of my mother. My own womb is crawling out of myself, and where is my mother? I'm an egg left in the care of crows because of my mother. I sleep hungry because of my mother. All night my lung licks itself because of my mother. Air, needles, undercover. Fear as insoluble as sulfur. I dissolve sugar in lukewarm water because of my mother. I am bad with water because of my mother. Bad with fire because of my mother. I sweeten even the softest grapes because of my mother. Put my ears to my pelvis because of my mother. I don't know where the pain is because of my mother. I think if I sleep very still, I will become my mother. I know time can stop because of my mother. How do I peel the years off my face and give them to my mother? Put back my milk teeth, untrain my bladder. I want to stay young and wait for a mother. Instead, I am swimming right into my mother. Oh, okay. Cool. It's kind of serendipitous how this one overlaps with Nicole and Katie's readings. I read it before and I cried, and I didn't cry this time. So I guess the poem has made its migration from life into art, which is, I don't know, good or bad. I don't know. Okay, 2 more shorter ones. This is Bad Temple. The doctor says the lining of my uterus is migrating into its walls. Displaced, the tissue continues to act normally, thickening, breaking down, and bleeding. The pain is worse now than before. I lay out traps for the new mouse and remove them before he comes close. I know panic like a tongue, nose, and unlit mouth. I'm thinking it must be dark inside the body, and where do dreams find light to give us hungry dogs, bags of shaved organs, and the infant left indigo by a plump tamarind pod? I want the light and I don't want the light. After everything I read online, I am now convinced the migration started early. When the uterus is first formed in the fetus, experts suggest endometrial tissue wanders from the uterus like a rogue angel from heaven. I call my mother to ask her if when she first held me, she could tell something inside me was leaving. She says I was so hungry, I was yellow. I was as small as the belly of a cat. What are you doing about the mouse? I don't want to pronounce the word anticoagulant. I don't want to think it. I'm listening to the walls like music. Sleeping, old towels beneath me like secrets. Again, I hold no milk and the slim body of a scalpel. All the bodies I've housed now, fugitives in the light. The doctor says you are a bad temple. I tell her I know. All these years I've known the blood was threshold, signal, was never ornamental. Okay. Thank you all for listening and being here. I'm sorry if these poems are, I don't know, too much, but this is gonna be my last one, and it's called Threshold. Okay, thank you so much. Threshold. I was seriously considered, Threshold. I seriously considered ways to swallow the children my grandmother is telling me over eggs. I wanted them back inside me. It was not hunger she felt, but fear. Of what, I ask? Of everything. Through the stained glass of the neighbor's door, I can see it is always daylight inside. The sun stains the green diamonds yellow. Briefly, I am a woman idling outside an imaginary ocean. I turn the key to return to my darkness, the carcasses of cluster flies still laying against the cool ceramic floor. In a dream, my mother brings me a black dog that looks more like a cat, mud smeared across its milky belly. I have no idea how to wash it. I can't even hold it. Dina is there too. She picks it up. In the light, the cat is as lean as my grandmother's voice. I don't even think to feed it. I can't think of the future. I'm afraid it will escape. It is difficult to imagine a child in the next room, something I love so much. All I can think to do is eat it. I watch new lines leak across my face like liquid. More flies, moving slow, escape the walls. They find the house as arid as the memory of an ocean. When my uncle died, he was so beautiful. Inside my grandmother was a bear whose cub, starved and shuddering, festers in the wild. The soil opened its lips to the green womb we return to, where a fly lays its eggs. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Let's hear it for Sara and for all our readers. Let me make sure I can do this. Nope, Sara, that was awesome. And yeah, if you want to go ahead and kind of unmute for a second, and just round of applause for all three of our readers, Nicole Simonson, Katie Marya, and Sara Elkamel. Thank you all so much. And Sara, like Sara, no worries about being too much. I mean, you heard my editor's note. I'm like, I always feel bad writing those, because when I'm like, well, what do I want to say about working on this issue? I'm like, the world is heavy on me. But I always tell my students and the writers I work with, I'm like, that's what poets do. I'm like, we're here to kind of like put on the asbestos gloves and deal with hazardous materials. And I always like to say too that we're like, poetry asks you to be more than honest. And that's what your work inspires, Katie's work inspires, and Nicole Simonson, your own work kind of like stirred up all the similar reactions as well. So thank you all for sharing, for being real with us through your words. And thank you everyone who made it. Thank you so much for taking the time. Check out the links that are in the chat. And yeah, that's it for our reading. Thank you so much for hanging out. We look forward to hosting another virtual reading for our next issue coming up. Take care, everyone. Good night.